Friends, this is the story of a man who fought a battle of life and death for more than 400 days in the world's largest and most merciless ocean, the Pacific Ocean. He set a world record and returned alive after 14 months. But what happened upon his return that led him to commit suicide? Find out in this video. Just hearing the name of the Pacific Ocean makes people break out in a sweat. The world is 71% water, divided into 4 oceans: Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, and Arctic. The largest ocean is the Pacific. It is so vast that its total area is 165 million square kilometers, while the total area of our dry land is 148 million square kilometers. And it alone can swallow our dry land. There are only a few islands in this ocean, and some are so small and remote that no human has ever visited them. If someone gets lost in the Pacific Ocean, finding them is nearly impossible. The person who survived for 14 months in the Pacific Ocean was named José Salvador Alvarenga. He had a small 7-foot boat on which he couldn't even lie down properly. This man survived on this boat for over a year, braving the ocean's brutality and setting a world record that no one else has broken to this day. Jose was merely a victim of fate that he got trapped in this dire situation. This was in 2012. Jose, a 36-year-old experienced fisherman, lived in a village called Costa Azul in Mexico. On November 17, 2012, Jose and his companion set out for fishing as usual on their small 7-foot boat. They couldn't fish far from shore because the boat was very small, with only an engine and a single fridge. They planned to return in 30 hours. They reached 120 kilometers off the coast of Mexico and started to set their nets in the ocean when suddenly a dangerous storm started approaching them. In a bid to save time, they left their nets behind and sped their boat full throttle. After 6 continuous hours, they were only 20 kilometers from the coast when the boat's engine broke down. They could see the coast and their village. The storm was far behind them. They had a radio through which they sent their location to their boss and waited for a response. Unfortunately, the radio's battery died. On one side, they could see the coast, and on the other, the storm was approaching with such intensity that it seemed as if it would swallow them alive. The winds were so fierce that their boat began drifting away from the coast. In no time, the coast disappeared from sight, and the strong waves started pulling them in the opposite direction. By the time their boss received the message, it was too late, so he sent a search party to find them. But with each passing moment, Jose's boat drifted farther away. Due to the storm's intensity, they couldn't see or understand where they were or which direction the coast was. Astonishingly, within 5 days, their boat had drifted 450 kilometers from the coast. Due to the boat's small size, finding them was even more difficult. They didn't have a flare gun or anything to signal for help with smoke. Both looked at each other, thinking that survival was now nearly impossible. They had run out of food 2 days ago, and without their fishing gear, they couldn't catch fish either. Both were starving when suddenly, a bird landed on their boat. They looked at each other and quickly tried to catch the bird, but failed. They knew another bird might come soon. A while later, another bird landed on the boat. This time they planned carefully and succeeded in catching it, surviving by eating the birds that landed on their boat. Drinking the salty seawater could kill a person, so they began storing rainwater in plastic bottles to survive. When it didn't rain, they quenched their thirst by drinking the blood of fish and turtles they managed to catch. Days turned into months, and they endured severe mental torture that we can't even imagine. Eventually, Jose's companion couldn't bear the torture anymore and committed suicide after 4 months, leaving Jose alone on the boat, surrounded by water with no hope in sight. Despite his dire situation, he somehow managed to survive. Looking at maps, it is estimated that Jose was in a part of the Pacific Ocean considered the world's quietest area, traversed only by cargo ships. More than 6 months had passed since Jose had left the Mexican coast, and during this time, he had lost his companion, causing immense frustration. One day, Jose saw a cargo ship in the distance. It was the first ship he had seen in 6 months, and seeing it rekindled his hope of survival. He tried every possible way to signal the cargo ship, but unfortunately, the ship was too far to see him, and it gradually disappeared from his sight. He thought that perhaps it was his fate to die there. Friends, just imagine being stuck in a place where you don't see another human for 6 months, and when you finally see someone after a long time, they don't see you and pass by. How would you feel? After 11 months, Jose had traveled 8,000 kilometers on his small boat. His clothes were torn, and all he had left to protect himself from the sunlight was an undershirt. Finally, on January 30th, 2014, 14 months later, Jose saw coconuts floating in the water, indicating that there might be an island nearby. Soon he saw an island, but he feared to missing it, so he jumped into the water and swam to the island. For the first time in 14 months, Jose set foot on land. Upon reaching the island, he saw a small beach house with locals, making his first contact with another human in 438 days. This island was Ebon Atoll, a remote island in the Marshall Islands, 11,000 kilometers from his starting point. Jose was fortunate to have reached the island on his own, otherwise his next stop would have been the Philippines, 5,000 kilometers away. From there, Jose was sent back home, but upon returning, he faced another problem. After returning, Jose published a book titled 438 Days. He was accused of killing his companion and was put on trial. Despite claiming his companion committed suicide, Jose was unable to defend himself and was sent to jail. Overwhelmed, Jose committed suicide, and thus the story ends. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more amazing content. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. See you in the next video. Stay awesome and take care. Goodbye.